Vikings Audio Network analyst Pete Bercich at Pete Bercich via X, joining 9 to noon now to kick off the final hour and the final stretch. Mr. Bercich, good morning. Happy travel day to you.
Yeah, good morning. Looking forward to getting back to business. You know what I mean? It's like it's been a while, and it's always just kind of fun to get back on the horse. You know what I mean? And preseason's it's still a long time. There's a lot that can happen. It's meaningful, but not as meaningful, I think, as people like to make it. But yeah, what a great week. We got this game, and then the Ravens in town for a couple games, and another practice against the Ravens. So it's going to be a good 8 days.
You got all your toiletries. Everything's packed and folded. You're ready to leave a little room for 15 Uncrustables on the plane. You're good to go there, right?
Yeah, it's such a groove that you get in with travel and with everything else, and we haven't done this in a while, so you just got to make sure that everything's where it's supposed to be. And there's a million and one things that you can forget. Many things are important, but only a handful of things are essential.
Yes.
Card being one of them.
Well, into the game tomorrow, we're going to get to hear you pregame around 10 o'clock on the flagship, 11 on the network, boom at noon. Ron Johnson and I doing fan line, but smack dab in the middle between the boom and fan line, we're going to get to hear you, Ben Lieber, and it sounds like wide receiver Justin Jefferson may be part of the simulcast broadcast tomorrow. Is that accurate, Mr. Bercich?
I am usually the last person to know about these things, but from what I understand, yeah, we're expecting to get Justin Jefferson. I know we're hoping to get Coach O'Connell at some point during the preseason like we've done in the past. And yeah, that part of it's always fun because you get to see and listen to their views of what's going on and how they see other players, their teammates, and it's very unique, and you'll never experience that part of it, that communication, that sideline communication in any other way.
No, and it's unbelievable, Pete. I mean, you played and you coached, so you've had the headset on. You've heard how fast and furious those things can kind of be. And then you think about Kevin O'Connell, and again, in an exhibition format, and, maybe Wes Phillips will be calling plays at some point. Mike Saravo, I believe, might be doing it at some point on the defensive side. But there's so much going on, and the coach still kind of lets you take a peek in the door. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. No, it is. It really is. And that's what's changed. I mean, to think, 20 years ago that, Mike Tice would be on a microphone talking to TV during the course of a preseason game is unfathomable. I mean, it would have been great TV. It would have been fun, trust me. But think about this. Back then, we used to have to go wired with the headsets on the sidelines as an emergency backup type situation. I mean, so technology has come a long way, and you talk about big money in the NFL. The NFL, more than any other sport, has benefited from technology, HD TV and fantasy football and everything else. I mean, when I was a rookie, we were still signing football cards. How about that?
And yes, a lot has changed, and that includes, we'll say not just technology, but preseason's handled so much more differently now. And PA and I, the last few days, just kind of running it through our heads. We hear Kevin O'Connell earlier this week not just identify Kyler as QB1, but he kind of mentioned in terms of tomorrow's game that everyone's going to play. Well, what does that mean? I mean, I don't anticipate Jefferson's going to play, and Christian Darrisaw, I might be surprised if he's in the mix. But preseason is handled so much differently now. What are you looking forward to in terms maybe a thing or two that you're pretty sure will be seen, and what are those things?
I'm focused on the rookies because we're not, the veterans, the guys that you expect to start, you're not going to see the open playbook and the whole thing. So you want to see them obviously go out there and do the fundamentals very well. But it's when like Jake Golday gets in there and Chuck Demings gets in there and Caleb Banks and Dominique Orange, those are the guys, Tiernan, those are the guys that you want to see get out there and under some live bullets, right? I mean, this is playing the Giants. You're in the stadium, and it's real. So there are a lot of guys who practice well, and then when the lights come on, they disappear. Conversely, there are a lot of guys who are okay in practice, and then all of a sudden the lights come on and they just tear it up. So I'm looking to see as well who that might be. Yeah, we're not talking about guys that we're going to be depending on. Guys like Banks and Orange, and I think Golday, we might a little bit more than normal. But these are guys that are fighting to make the squad. They're fighting to make a career, and I'm going to enjoy watching these guys go about their business.
Is there, you mentioned Demings, and Demings, it started out just, he offers some cool quotes. He is a fun conversation. He brings a different kind of energy at camp. But now that's kind of translated onto the field where it seems like he's trying to take James Pierre's money, isn't he, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be challenging, for that spot. And that's what you want. I mean, so much has been made about the quarterback competition and the taken away from reps and all that, but it's funny how no one seems to mind when your number 3 corner position, is being contested, right, between Pierre and Demings. And yeah, every snap counts. Everything matters. Fortunately, like I said earlier, there's a lot of snaps that these guys are going to take in the next 8 days that are really going to determine what this defense and what this offense looks like personnel-wise going into the season.
Pete Bercich, Vikings Audio Network analyst, joining me, Nordo, 9 to noon, final hour in play. And in terms of the joint practices next week, Pete, does the fact that you're going to be having all of those 1v1s, the way the teams are able to drill down and get into exactly what they want to accomplish over those days, all those reps, how does that impact maybe what you do or don't do in this particular affair?
I don't think it impacts anything at all in that regard. You have a game plan. You know what you want to do. The Giants have a new head coach in Harbaugh, so they're going to be vested in looking good and winning. So you might get a little bit more out of the New York Giants in this first preseason game than you normally would. But that's what happens when you're going up against a new head coach. He's obviously not new to head coaching, but new to New York, and people are going to want to see the change right away. So I expect the Giants to be fired up. I expect them to maybe carry a little bit more game plan. Who knows? I mean, who knows how this is going to go? But that's always something to keep in mind when you watch these preseason games. It's just if things don't look good, you got to know why. And sometimes it's just a matter of the opposing defense throwing stuff at you that that you've never seen. That's where having a guy like Carson Wentz out there, later in the game, third quarter, et cetera, is going to be an advantage because he's seen everything. He's been everywhere. And those 2s and 3s that are going to be playing with him, they should be thankful that they got a guy that knows how to call a huddle and knows how to, take care of business, if you will, to be out there, to be a guy who can anticipate, a guy who's been around the block a few times. So some of these younger wide receivers might be getting opportunities that they maybe wouldn't get somewhere else.
Oh, yeah. The third quarter feels like deep ball from Wentz to Michael Briscoe, and we'll be enjoying that tomorrow at MetLife. But speaking of QBs, QB1, now that it is Kyler Murray, if you can kind of put your coaching goggles on for a moment, are there any particular things just for you that you are evaluating or want to see, read, and hear about as camp continues on?
Him staying healthy, obviously. We've from scouting him and playing against him in the past, he's always been a very accurate quarterback, especially underneath. And you hope that accuracy continues, and you hope the arm strength continues. I mean, the guy was the number 1 overall pick for a reason. So those are like that physical side of it. You want to keep, you want to see.
Yeah,
he's been around a little bit now, but you want to make sure that is still at a level that's commensurate with being a starting quarterback and being a great quarterback, which I'm sure it is. It's just a matter of seeing it for the first time. It's going to be wild to see Kyler Murray wearing purple out there. The first couple snaps it's going to take a little while to get used to it, I think, but it's going to be great.
Will this game tomorrow give us a real, or at least somewhat of a tangible idea that we can touch and feel in terms of how different this run game could look like in 2026? We've heard about it. Frank West this, wide zone that, and just the real urgency that Kevin O'Connell's put behind the run game. Even in an exhibition, can we get bits and pieces out of it that says, ooh, this is going to be different and it could be really cool?
Well, I think one thing to watch is just the amount of runs that we call, right? I wouldn't be so locked into the exact type and style and everything else that we do. But I think that's something that you have to keep an eye out for to see if that's a point of emphasis. Maybe there's some situations that in the past we haven't normally run the football. Keep an eye on the, third and shorts and then the deep red zone. Those are situations where we decide to run the football. Those are all places of improvement, points of emphasis, and, hopefully DeMond Claiborne will get out there and, bust a couple. It'd be fun to see that too.
No, that would be. Now, you're set to go get on a plane today, and I can't wait to hear you / see you with the simulcast tomorrow. But I know you do all the prep, and then I'll leave the experts to it, that being you. But that the highly, highly anticipated battle, Johnny Hekker and Brett Thorson, you're gonna have to talk about it tomorrow, Pete. The punter battle is as hot as it gets in Eagan right now.
Yeah, I don't know if there'll be much more I can add outside of what PA will talk about.
Oh, that's
I think
fair.
PA's got that market cornered, so we'll let him go. It'll be fun to see it, the Aussie, has any of those special trick kicks up his sleeve and all that. I mean, that's the problem with punting. Is the most important part is consistency, and you might have a guy that 80% of the time, 90% of the time looks fantastic. It's just that other percent where things go horribly wrong. And there are points in games where things cannot go horribly wrong. So that's always the biggest challenge for a younger kicker, a younger punter, outside of can he hold, can he kick off, can he do these other things. The consistency side of it really needs to be there if you're gonna take a spot away from somebody, an established kicker.
Thanks as always for joining us, Pete. Enjoy safe travels, of course. The Uncrustables on the plane, the broadcast tomorrow, and we will see you again soon. All right, sir.
All right, Nardo. Thank you. See you.
Thank you. That's Pete Bercich, analyst, Minnesota Vikings Audio Network. You're going to get to see him on TV tomorrow. Hear him, of course, on your home for Vikings football, The Fan. That's how we would prefer you digest preseason game number 1, a nooner at MetLife Stadium against those Giants. And Pete Bercich, by the way, at Pete Bercich via X. And you can search Pete Bercich 56 via YouTube for his Eye in the Sky podcast. Elite breakdowns from Bercich as always. PA back in the mix next. What are we looking forward to tomorrow? Excited to continue talking about it 9 to noon.
That's it. Good job with Pete. How excited are you for this?
Yeah, are you kidding me? I mean, tomorrow the opportunity to see not just the now preferred QB on the field, but also just kind of see how Kevin O'Connell's methods of finding the right matches and the right personnel in the preseason and the chance to see maybe some kids playing. Yeah. I mean, the preseason, I'm watching games last night. And I kind of joked. I saw a post from Florio's PFT. Kirk Cousins throws touchdown in only drive. I'm like, put him on ice, Paul. While it's fun to see Fernando Mendoza throw his first TD and certain things like that, the only preseason activities I care about, and games in particular, is with my team. So whether I'm learning about the interior defensive front, I'm learning about the O-line and who's going to be snapping the ball, and hopefully he's doing it at a high level. Yep. I want to see the kid running back make a nice little cut and get out there a bit. Yeah. All of those things that we'll be running through, I'm just so pumped for it at noon tomorrow to hear you and Pete and Ben Lieber get after it.
Well, here's what I expect to see and hope to see Saturday at noon from MetLife Stadium. First, FIJA, Fairness and Joint Practices Act. The physical Ravens are in Eagan Wednesday and Thursday. So save Jefferson, who never has played a preseason game. All your very favorite Vikings could be in action tomorrow. But don't blink with the ones because they'll be gone before you know it. And as always, keeping all the players healthy out of the game is the A topic, and here they are. I'll rattle through this stuff, and Matt Producer will pepper with questions and comments. End of said prattle. The con, too, is expected to moan and or grunt along the way if something catches the ear. Are you ready?
Yes.
And here we go. Give Kyler a series or like 8 to 14 plays, depending on how it goes. KO said Tuesday, they all are playing, which means the first Minnesota moving company indeed may be in play for that first offensive possession with quarterback Kyler Murray. Jones, Mason, Hawkinson, Addison, Jennings, and so on. Let's get on with that and get an opening drive touchdown with Kyler by our side. Wouldn't be surprised if young JJ, as in McCarthy, gets the rest of the first half or maybe 2 or 3 drives. What we need to see there are some cool passes, middle of the field, and right over the outstretched fingertips of linebackers and for sweet completions. Now, FIVA, F-I-V-A, Fairness in Vanilla Act. The Vikings offense, I believe in no way will display the A or B list plays, which means we'll see some wide zone runs, but only to deceive all that is green and gold with the potency or lack thereof. Felton and Price have had quality training camps catching passes. So let's see it take place in a game against another team. Damon Claiborne, Wake Forest rookie. Well, he's the wild card in the deck. Sometimes the play will be the peacock. Sometimes it might be the feather duster as he gets up to speed. If Price returns punts and plays some receiver, let's give Damon Claiborne some kick return tries. He had a couple of TDs at Wake Forest. Running backs are all the rage with the less than dynamic kickoff. Keep that in mind. Rookie Chuck D, Charles Demings, rookie Chuck D, and veteran James Pierre seem to be in an absolute dogfight for the ever-important third corner role. In fact, I think it has some 50-50 to it. Maybe Demings might be a minus 140 favorite, believe it or not, in that match race to get the call versus Love and LaFleur's gang. Expecting Caleb Banks to work his way into the mix, given, if you think about it, he's played just 4 games since 2024. That foot, though, Ty Ingram Dawkins and Ivan Pace Jr. have been physical and excellent all camp. Ivan's in a contract year. Expecting them to knock around some who are wearing blue. 9 to noon brings up the punter spot daily because the battle is real. Might have some pick'em to it between veteran Hecker and rookie Aussie Brett Thorson. Now, Thorson never held for kicks at Georgia. That was the quarterback. The quarterback held for the kicks at Georgia, but Thorson's a Ray Guy Award winner and just booms it. So that could be a thing, but word has it with the holding, he's doing quite well. And finally, I have an amazing Kyler Murray stat I'm saving for the Minnesota Vikings' first offensive possession tomorrow on Fox 9 and KFAN. The old simulcast blew me away when I learned about it yesterday. Any questions?
Well, first and foremost, questions are more just kind of bringing you started off right where we've been the last couple of days, that they're all going to play. Christian Darrisaw out on the field tomorrow. I mean, that's potentially, right? And
yeah,
so
I think so.
So I think that would be awesome, at least maybe for a drive. As you mentioned, Fairness in Vanilla Act.
Yep.
We're not going to see the extra O lineman Ryan Vandemark play fake into an offensive lineman receiving touchdown. Probably not seeing such things tomorrow. But in the vein of getting reps, so. If Kyler is the A topic, Aaron Jones a maybe, but getting to see kind of this new look.
No, I don't think Aaron Jones is a maybe.
You don't think he is?
No, I think what Kevin O'Connell said Tuesday had more merit to it. then maybe he was talking so much about the quarterback situation that I just, when he said they're all going to play, I just really didn't think he meant them all. So there are some that definitely are in question. But I think it's important for the team to have the physical brand of football they've had all camp, on display for a short amount of time, remembering what you have coming up Wednesday and Thursday is against one of the most physical teams in the National Football League. So, I mean, it's with Jones and with Mason and Claiborne and Xavier Scott, Max Bredesen, along with Juwan Jennings, some of the more physical players on the team. I would expect all of them to play, if only for a little bit. And, don't forget that in preseason games, maybe not tomorrow, but if it was tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised that offensive coordinator Wes Phillips gets an opportunity to call some games. And likewise for inside linebackers coach Mike Saravo to call some defense. So, I guess that probably starts tomorrow, but maybe not.
Well, to that end, so yes, getting to see Kyler and whether or not it's Darisaw on his left, and let's see a deep shot to Addison, and then again just park everything. McCarthy rolls in and we move on. The run game for me tomorrow is one of the most important things that I'll actually get a sneak peek at. So if it is Aaron Jones with a few snaps, I'm over the moon about that PA because like the Frank Smith, and we're joking throughout the last few weeks. Like, I don't know if Frank Smith exists. I've never seen him. I don't know if he's a real person, but this is apparently a real scheme change to the mix, and just the way that it's looked in camp. And to get that on the field tomorrow, and again, pumping up for a preseason game, it's an exhibition. Like, I can't wait to see Jordan Mason. I can't wait to see, again, Damon Claiborne, and how Max Bredesen factors into all of that, even if it's just a few drives, PA, even if it's just, again, a series the first quarter. Like, this is such a top-heavy or a front-heavy affair for me in terms of I want to see the new. And I kind of want to see what the A team looks like on the field, if only for a drive. Yeah. Like, that's the thing that immediately pops in my head is just, even if it's vanilla, a sneak peek at the run game is going to be sweet.
Big time. A topic, keep players healthy. Because if you are going to play a majority of your best players, and that includes Andrew Van Ginkel, Caleb Banks, and again, keep in mind, Caleb has played 4 games since 2024. Jalen Redmond. I've been told Blake Cashman is having his best training camp, the best training camp he's had since he's been here. Rogers and Murphy Jr., if they're going to play everybody, then they're going to get some run. Not exactly sure against whom. I'd be shocked if Scattaboo, along with Malik Neighbors, plays. But John Harbaugh, coach of the Giants, said a couple of days ago, Odell Beckham Jr. is going to play a little bit. So, now granted, he's deep on their depth chart right now. Tyrone Tracy Jr. is having a really good camp for them. They, so I'm in lockstep with what you're saying, is with the play that's given to you, make the best of it, no matter how simplistic it is. Defensively, don't let them move on you, no matter who's in the game or what's coming at you, and either push or win in the turnover battle over the duration of the game with Murray into McCarthy, into Carson Wentz, either late first half or starting the second half, and maybe Max Brosmer in the fourth quarter. Just push or win the turnover battle and stay healthy. Those two things right there, 1 and 1A.
Well, I do want to touch on J.J. McCarthy before, and you hit on a couple of things defensively. Yeah. This is going to be the first chance, if you've been sitting around for 72 hours going, I wonder how he's going to handle it. This tomorrow is a real example or a real measurable piece of how he's going to handle it as QB2. And I'm rooting for him to go out there and have a terrific day and execute the offense, continue to build on confidence. And it's super negative for him right now, but that's going to be a fun part of tomorrow too, is just, this is the first chance, JJ, for you to go out there and say, yeah, this stings. I want to be QB1. But I'm going to go out there and rip it anyway, right? And maybe I'm ripping it to Jayshon Jones instead of Addison, but in the same sense, or a Ty Felton out there, but a chance for him to keep stacking reps and maybe improve in his own right.
Well, the selection of plays, the menu of plays during a preseason game, it's unpredictable because you can say FIBA, Fairness and Vanilla Act, and we hear that a million times. And every team should be offering, they shouldn't be offering their best plays in preseason games. But let's not forget when Justin Jefferson was on the simulcast, I think a couple of years ago, it was Tristan Jackson, who I think had a long touchdown. He's running down the sideline going like, here we go, Paul. So that to get there, something had to go deep, whether there was a bust or not. It still was one of those plays that gets people out of their seats. So they're in the playbook in the preseason, whether McCarthy or Murray execute them, or actually have the opportunity to execute them. That's only to be seen tomorrow beginning at noon. With Murray, personally speaking, I expect it to look efficient. And again, 8 to 14 plays, maybe a drive or two, but get points out of said drive.
Now, on the defensive side of things, I mean, the first depth chart comes out. Hey, we got a depth chart. And you're looking at like Caleb Banks and Dominique Orange. Yeah. By all accounts, very positive camps for both of those individuals and excited for what real games will look like. Mm-hmm. But still, you're going to, even if they are technically behind a Jalen Redmond, a Levi Drake Rodriguez, etc., you are kind of treating them the way that you would treat a Justin Jefferson, in the regard that we're going to work in, specifically on the injury side with Caleb Banks, we're going to work him in slowly. Mm-hmm. Would you say that that's accurate? Or, yes. I mean, they're healthy, so yes. they got to get out there and get experience. How do you balance that?
Keep in mind, Caleb Banks has played 4 games since 2024. So when watching him tomorrow, again, this is what, from I guess, a quasi-outsider standpoint, what I would hope to see. And then, being with the gang at the stadium calling the game, what I expect to see. With Banks, I don't expect him to start, but if he does, he does. But I would expect to see him in certain, maybe past predictable situations to start. With Dominique Orange, one thing that's interesting with him, and I'm going to start unfurling all of this tomorrow, when he played at Iowa State, 85% of the plays he went against were shotgun plays. That's not the NFL. So it's and they're shotgun in the preseason, but you don't get a lot of 7-step drops, play action, double moves. So what he's going to see tomorrow is going to be his first dose of quarterbacks, whether it's Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston, or Brandon Allen. Allen's having a really rough camp, so I'm not sure when they're going to go to him. But Jameis Winston could play a lot. And Jameis will be under center a lot. Jackson Dart probably will be under center a lot. That with Dominique Orange, it's handling the offensive lineman on the inside, putting doubles on him with under center plays and like runs to Tyrone Tracy Jr. between the tackles or trying to just get outside the hash mark. So a lot of new things are coming at these rookies. But the certainly not speaking for the team, but from what I've seen or what I've heard, the Minnesota Vikings are very, very happy and excited with the physical nature and versatile nature of what they have with their defensive line, specifically the tackles.
Stupid question, dumbest question you'll get all day, in fact. I can almost promise that. When you're watching these games and you're in position battles, and I'll be so bold to say that they know if the final 53, they probably know like 47, 48 already, maybe somewhere in that area in terms of what they're going to roll with in the border battle.
Well, but what's interesting about what you just said is into this game and into the Ravens' joints, there actually are more battles for significant playing time in certain spots than I can remember. Whether that third corner situation, I said it last week when James Pierre had all the money and he had a great first day of camp. Then he left and he missed more than half a week. Demings took advantage of it and Demings has caught him. And those two are going to battle in these games and in these joints for the right to play, what could be 50 to 60% of games. They're supremely high on Charles Demings.
I love that.
And he's part of that rookie class that seems to be having good camps, but the punter situation, great. Nobody cares until you have a bad punter. until, you got somebody with 7 to 10 touchbacks during the course of the year.
Or he fumbles the snap.
Right.
And, Reichard's trying to go from 61 here.
Right. Damon Claiborne is, I guess I didn't really know until of late how good his kick returning prowess could be, and how important it is to have bigger, thicker guys back there with the dynamic kick, specifically running backs. But it's Miles Price's money. Now, if Miles plays some receiver during the season and is your chief punt returner, maybe that's not his job anymore. But I don't believe that's settled. So there are so many things right now that are legitimately unsettled when it comes to who's going to be active in games beginning against Green Bay.
No, that's super cool, and I love that you made that distinction. And maybe these are guys that will be on the team, but the battle is in terms of who's getting the snaps.
Right.
But where I was going with that super nerdy dumb question is, does it start like if I want to know, I don't know, the Isaiah Loudermilks of the world,
right,
the Zemiah Vaughns, etc.
Yeah.
The guys that are maybe fringe, and maybe Zemiah's not fringe, but you get what I'm saying.
For the 53?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder if we can start to get tells in special teams coverage. This is a preseason game, and, this is really digging deep. But if I notice that XYZ guy is a gunner, and he's in certain spots, and I see that throughout the preseason, but I don't hear much conversation about him from a defensive or an offensive standpoint. Can that be a tell that person may have a spot on the team because of their contributions and the consistency we see them in the special teams arena?
The first gunners, like last year, are Ty Felton and Tavier Thomas. They both will be on the team. They're both very good at what they do. Jay Ward is like a gunner too. Not sure who does it on the other side, but when the deeper you get into the game, the less that matters. So I've shared it a million times, including yesterday with Alec or the other day with Dane, is that, the discerning eye when you're watching practice and it starts and you see people stretching and special team stuff and people talking, you want to put your eyes on certain facets of special teams because it's there for a second, then it's gone. So now when it comes to Jurasik, okay, I see second-year Georgia undrafted tight end Ben Jurasik. In special team spots, I don't see Gavin Bartholomew. But that doesn't mean Gavin's not going to make the team. So now you get to how many tight ends are they going to keep? Probably 4. I would go with the obvious 2 and those 2. With cornerback and wide receiver. Generally, they prefer to keep 5 wide receivers. There could be 6. There could be 6 this year. And that could play into special teams.
Wow. Okay. Now, with let's get back to, in terms of next week's joints, they're going to, with Minter and Kevin O'Connell, they're going to construct this thing, and everything's kind of pre-programmed.
Yep, I think they've already started on that.
And what I'm curious, though, is would KO and Harbaugh do that into a game like tomorrow to maybe a smaller degree, if you can?
Yes, it's to my knowledge that that as of yesterday, they had not spoken, but I fully do expect they will speak into the game. Thus, I'm not completely sure what the Giants are going to be throwing at the Vikings. I couldn't care less because these games, they're all about our team. But when it comes to the next 3 games, with the Giants, Ravens here at Denver, this is so much about what you do. How much does Wes Phillips and or Mike Saravo improve when calling games? With a very limited menu of plays that they can use. And, they're generally working with the 2s and the 3s. And, from a simulcast standpoint, Fox 9, KFAN, I don't think it's completely confirmed, but it's a pretty high percentage that, Justin Jefferson will be joining us, for a quarter, maybe the second or third quarter, during tomorrow's game. And that'll be sweet.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I just can't wait for this thing and the breakdown of it. And we were joking with Alec yesterday. It's almost like camp can finally begin now that we know Kyler's in the spot.
Yep.
And now we can start looking, how are the kids performing? Is there, what if any reps you're going to see a Jamal Adams tomorrow and what that whole thing looks like?
Right.
The for a team with the same head coach, the same defensive coordinator, and a lot of the same over the course in the fifth year for Kevin O'Connell, there's so much freaking new and land of opportunity in the secondary, these battles. It starts tomorrow, and then Ron Johnson and I fan line after hopefully I was about to say hopefully a Vikings victory
right
in the preseason.
Well, you want to win. I mean,
you want to win.
Yeah, these guys are the most competitive people you'll ever meet. So, if and or when Jefferson joins the simulcast, if there is Carson Wentz throwing a deep pass to Jayshon Jones, Dante Fleming, or Dylan Bell, and one of those guys gets loose to the end zone, 18's going to go nuts like it's a regular season game.
There we go, Paul.
Because, I mean, if you can just step back and it's very hard to do, but just try to put yourself in their shoes and recognize all the hours they put in with meetings, all the hours with workouts and rehab in the off season and practice and things like that. It's a lot. And they don't do it to lose. They don't do it to lose any of the games. It's not like everybody's completely crestfallen if they lose a preseason game, but it's going to be fun because I'm just starting to learn more things about what the key people think about the team. And there are rookies, second year, and third-ish year players, some younger players on the team that really, really, really excite some of the big-time decision makers. And all of that is unfurled tomorrow, noon, KFAN.
How good is that? Tomorrow, 10 a.m. pregame on the flagship, 11 on the network. The Boom is at noon. Fan line follows. Just a nice little Saturday right here in your home for Vikings football. The Fan. Final segment next.
You're listening live to Paul Allen at 9 to noon on iHeartRadio and FM 100.3 KFAN. The Fan.
Download the free iHeartRadio.
Final segment, it's the post-game 9 to noon. Man, I can't wait for that game tomorrow. What a rube. What an adult rube. I was kind of rubing out this morning. I got a text, 64686 Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line. Podcastable, the whole show will be in minutes. Thank you for listening live when you do, but maybe some things you missed. You'll love the opening segment where it effectively was just 30 minutes of Skull Stories with Chad Greenway and then Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen, most would say, infinitely better on the football field maybe than he is playing the initials game. But he stayed in studio. And I got this text message. Nordo, your Cincinnati sweat battle you had is more intense than Adam and Chad's camp down with the Bengals. You're going to hear a bit about, as I guess, effectively this is the 10-year anniversary of joint practices, Zimmer's Vikings and Marvin Lewis's Bengals down in Cincinnati. It was 100 degrees each day, 100% humidity. It was awful, and I didn't even have to put pads on. I'm sitting there, fat, sweating, athletic shorts and a T-shirt, and we're watching Adam Thielen face-to-face with Pac-Man Jones, face-to-face with Vontaze Burfict, former Bengals linebacker, jawing at each other, some swings being thrown, the heat of Cincinnati in play as tempers flared. But that opening segment there, just an absolute blast to have, Adam Thielen, and we were talking a bit later about it, just kind of, when Chad Greenway first retired. Chad had been so connected to our show, but it was different, right? Because no more pads, no more trash talking, no more eye black. Now it's just Chad. It's not 5'2", and similarly with Thielen as he enters his first season, not with a team in a long time, 12, 13 seasons, I think, in total in the NFL. It's kind of different just seeing Adam. And but it was a fun first hour. John Krasinski with some cool tidbits on the how to open up the middle stretch as well. The LaMelo Ball era, and he's got a big event, I believe, coming up at Forgotten Star Brewery. And we had the Rube Party there a few years ago, by the way, in the summertime. If you did not attend, Forgotten Star rips. It is awesome. So, but John Krasinski of The Athletic, he's going to have an extended chat with Tim Connolly. So you're going to get to hear what the Pobo, the big boss, what he thinks about LaMelo Ball in the mix, and maybe what's next, what's new, what's fresh with the Hoops team. And then really as we kind of wind down 9 to noon today, it's really been all about what's taking place tomorrow at noon. You heard kind of last segment our thoughts, PA in the mix, and mine as well. Just, all the conversation around the QB, the kind of the joke the last few days is, oh yeah, now we can talk about everything else. And who is going to play? Are they all going to play? Did the coach just mean the QBs? Are we actually going to see Christian Darrisaw out there? We shall see. One guy I want to see, though, Blake Brandel. And I mentioned it briefly last segment as well. But just, I want to see how that looks. I want to see, and I can't help it. Got the chance Saturdays with Sauce to have Brandel out on the perch with us. So connecting with him, even over the course of 15, 20 minutes, and also at a base level, it's my favorite team. I want them to win. I'm rooting for Blake Brandel. And so how is that thing looking, though? Is it a disaster? Now he gets to focus on QB1. That's cool. But how has it looked as he's gone from utility lineman, if you need me here, I'm here. If you need me there, I'm there, to now I'm just the center. I'm just the starting Viking center. And that's massive, the interior line. And Will Fries, I don't know if he was dinged up or whatnot, but it sounds like he's back. I mean, nothing serious, but just maybe he wasn't practicing a day or two in there. He ascended towards the end of the 2025 season, hoping that's even better in 2026. Donovan Jackson, a year removed, rookie traversing that he did a year ago, now into his sophomore season. Is there a sophomore jump associated with that? The interior of this line is so paramount. And that locks into the footwork conversation, the keys with Kyler. We need to solidify the interior of that thing so that Kyler can do his thing. And we're going to get to see some of that. Some of it, not all of it, but some of it at MetLife Stadium tomorrow in New Jersey. Thank you so much to all of our guests today. Bercich joining on his way to potentially a team facility where he eventually will depart. But PA and Johnny K, Chad and Adam, West Durham, Falcons Vox, two-a-days, Distraction Factors, Central for the Niners. It was a full Friday feast, podcastable with the free iHeartRadio app. Brandon Molesky, Tana Fitzgerald is in for Common next. Thanks for listening to The Fan. When you do, have an awesome afternoon. Cheers.
9 to noon.
If it's good news or money, leave a message.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center. This report is sponsored